want to have Mike start it like we did last time?
We're rolling.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone to the November 25th, 2019 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. And would you please join me in
1 minute till Christmas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my left is our Vice President, Jeff Benton. To my right, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, our Administrator, Mike Fromer, and our Clerk, Jennifer Walraven. We can begin.
Resolution number 19-1153 in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held November 21st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1153. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We don't have any public comment today, but we do have a follow-up announcement from our county administrator regarding the EMS Fire District event at Meyer.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd ask Chief Fischel to come to the podium and talk a little bit about what they were up to yesterday morning and afternoon.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fischel, Director of EMS Delaware County. Yesterday, we teamed up with the City of Delaware Fire Department, Tri-Township Fire Department, got it right that time, the Tri-Township Fire Department, and we posted outside of Myers in Delaware, and we passed out flyers. Commissioner Lewis has one of them in front of her, and we were able to collect, by the estimates of the gentleman who was in the back of the People in Need truck, he estimates that we collected over 2,500 in food for our food drive, which we coined Fill the Medic. So it was a great collaborative effort between the three departments. There's a lot of planning that went into this, and I really wanted to recognize the people who were involved in that today.
Please, yes.
I kind of threw an idea out there, and they worked really hard to make it happen. They did all the groundwork for it, and for Delaware County, Lieutenant Kurt Hill is in charge of our PR committee, and Assistant Chief Jen Cochran. And then they're downstairs actively engaged in interviews right now. But Captain Glenn Keating was a part of the promotional process and planning process for it. So Glenn, if you wouldn't mind standing and being recognized for that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Would you like to say anything? Sure.
Glenn took a lot of good pictures of it yesterday.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. It's definitely an exciting thing. I've been here now for 10 years, and this is something I haven't seen where we've been able to collaborate with all of our different departments like this, and for a great cause. I mean, 2,500 pounds of food. That is
Fantastic.
an awesome achievement. And this is only our first year, so looking forward to great things. We had a lot of great discussions yesterday about how we can improve it for next year, and I think we'll be able to pull it off. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And I wanted to, with the city, Inspector Blaze Stoikov, did I get it right? Did I do good? Did I do good? You got to come up here. You got to say something.
Any one of these events is slated for the summer, I would definitely be on board for the summer.
It was very cold.
It was real.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. So Blaze was obviously a really big part in getting this off the ground and organized, and he collaborated with everybody. The city brought out an ambulance, and there was a lieutenant there as well?
Yes, Lieutenant Bill Jones.
Bill Jones? Bill Jones was there as well on behalf of the city, so that was very appreciative. And then Chief Morris, Chief Morris was obviously a very big part of the entire project as well.
Oh, yes. Come, Chief. Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
Morning.
Morning, Chief.
For a first-time event, we do a toy drive as well during December, and I know how those first-time events may not be successful. I've seen a lot of success for there. We had a lot of people showing up. Even as we were breaking down and starting to pack stuff up, we still had people coming up. So it was well received. It was cold, but it was well received.
Yes, oh, thank you.
Just a comment, Myers, you use their parking lot, so they accolades to Myers, I assume, for their support?
Absolutely. They bent over backwards to help us any way they could. They don't typically have these sort of events in their parking lot, kind of due to a policy, but they really worked with us and got creative on how we could still make it happen. They really wanted to help and be a part of it. So big thanks to the Delaware Myers. They were obviously a huge part in this as well. Couldn't have done it without them. So very, very thankful to them as well. Next year, we hope to do the same thing at the same place. I've reached out to Chief Kovach, BST&G Fire District, about holding one in their district as well. And I reached out to Joe Ponzi with the Genoa Fire Department about potentially holding one down there as well. So same thing next year, and hopefully we can grow it and do it in other parts of the county as well.
Gosh, I mean, it was just, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, it was, and there were so many fire EMS there. I mean, and the collaboration was great. Over 2,500 pounds of food that is now, that people who need it are going to receive it.
And PIN is the right organization to make sure it gets done well and efficiently. And I know Myers has worked with PIN in the past, to help them with their food drives.
Right,
So this
right.
is, this is another example of Myers stepping up for our community.
And I know too, even locally, that the corporate Myers sometimes likes to have different charities there, but they said they made an exception this time, and they've been very good to people in need. And then as you all were able to set this up, they made an exception for you, and which is just great. And hopefully that will continue too, because Myers does, our manager here at Myers is just great. So, boy.
I believe he's new. He just came here from Marysville a few months.
You're right, you're right. He was actually at the, when there was the dedication at Penn.
Yeah, that's where I met him.
Yeah, you met him, you're right, yes. He was there. I did run into him after I was in Myers shopping, and I asked him where the manager was. He was stocking all this food, but then he had a lot of badges on, and so I said, "Do you know where the manager is?" Well, I'm the manager. Oh, great, you're just who I want. Yeah. So, but you all made it happen. I mean, it was just great. Thank you.
Once again, I'm very appreciative of these people right here that got together and made this happen, and Jen and Kurt downstairs. It wasn't, as I'm told, it was easy to come up with the idea. It was not easy to put it all together. It wasn't an easy task, so I'm very appreciative of everything that y'all did, and thank you very much.
Right. And it was great too with the fire trucks, because you can't miss them, and then all the emergency. Our emergency EMS too, vans. Yeah, then the drive-through, there was a whole drive-through there. And it was cold and windy, like you said. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we can proceed. Thank you.
Resolution number 19-1154, in the matter of approving purchase orders and announced certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 1122 and memo transfers in batch number MT APR 1122.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1154. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1155, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1155. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1156, in the matter of accepting and approving the Delaware County Sheriff's Office Transport Report for the month of October 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1156. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1157, in the matter of setting date, time, and place for a public hearing for consideration of a petition from the Berkshire Township Board of Trustees requesting vacation of an unused portion of Old Wilson Road, Township Road 56, in Berkshire Township, Delaware County, Ohio, under the special procedures of Revised Code 5553.045.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1157. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1158, in the matter of approving an agreement by and between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Title First Agency for title services for the Agricultural Easement Purchase Program.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Morning, Commissioner. Scott Stevens, Administrator with the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. Title First Agency, Mark Martin, would be the same title agent that we've used dating back to 2016. Outstanding relationship there, and he's familiar with kind of the intricacies of the program, but I would ask that we move ahead with the agreement.
question, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1158. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1159, and that is on page 217. In the matter of approving an addendum number 1 to the memorandum of understanding between the Delaware County and Ohio and the Ohio Department of Agriculture.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Morning. So this would date back to the 2017 funding round for the Farmland Preservation Program. We started shortly after in 2016 having a kind of comprehensive review using the Regional Planning Tech Review Committee, and we, if you recall, we executed an MOU regarding road right-of-way or utility expansion on these parcels that would be co-held by the commissioners and the ODA. This will be an extension specific to the Joe Brack parcel. It's Porter Township, Porter Central Road. There's a reference to the parcel or to the general area on the county thoroughfare plan, and we felt it prudent to execute this extension. Should that thoroughfare plan ever be executed and there would need to be right-of-way or additional right-of-way on that parcel, then this would allow for that to happen and have that sorted out ahead of time, basically. So if there's questions about the location or just well, this has been in the works for a while, so this is
okay, vote. Thank you, Scott.
Vote on motion 19-1159. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1160, in the matter of approving a supplemental appropriation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Good morning, Commissioners. George Keitsa, Delaware County Auditor. And
Anthony Sadie, Board of Elections Deputy Director.
Commissioners, this request is to appropriate the funds that we've received from the Secretary of State's Office for Election Security. So this will finance the Palo Alto software, which we are using for our internal security. And I'm also happy to report that in working with the Board of Elections, that we will not need any additional funds. We'll be able to fund it with funds that are currently available with the Board of Elections, together with this grant. So we're very happy about that. And Mr. Sadie, if you'd like to say a few words, or
Yeah, we have enough to come into compliance with the rest of the security directive, but this grant is exactly what we'll need for one of the big sticking points for the Secretary of State, which is to put a separation between our network and the rest of the counties, to have a firewall in between those two.
I see. Thank you for their quick action on this, too. Appreciate it. Any questions? Vote.
Vote on motion 19-1160. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1161, in the matter of approving a programmatic agreement for coordination between the Delaware County Commissioners and the Ohio Historic Preservation Office for the administration of CDBG and home-funded activities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Zach Daly, Economic Development Specialist, here to talk about this item. It's basically just a renewal of the agreement that the Board of Commissioners have already been in agreement with the State Historic Preservation Office. This would renew it for 5 years.
Okay,
I'm happy to answer any questions.
okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-1161. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1162, in the matter of accepting the award from the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for Delaware County Family Treatment Court Program for Delaware County Juvenile and Probate Court.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Karen Watkins, Fiscal Coordinator for the Juvenile and Probate Court. This is a renewal of an ongoing program that we've had. It was submitted and received as we proposed. It covers a portion of our Family Treatment Court probation officer, and then the remaining portion of her salary comes from general funds.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1162. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1163, in the matter of authorizing the acceptance of an award from the Ohio Attorney General Victims of Crime Act for the Victim Services Program and the Court-Appointed Special Advocate Program for Delaware County Juvenile Probate Court.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a total of 4 proposals that were sent to the Attorney General's office. The first one covers our Victim Services Program. This one's special in that any victim of a crime that was committed by a juvenile is served by our court. Again, this is a continuation of what we've done in the past. It covers 1.5 FTEs over at the court.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1163. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1164, in the matter of approving a vacation and a release of sanitary sewer easements in the city of Powell, Delaware County, Ohio, official record, pages 1636, pages 136 through 1372.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So this is the follow-up that I mentioned last week. There was an easement that was obtained by a developer for the Morris Station project that cut through a neighbor's driveway. And in order to not have to leave that neighbor without a driveway for a few months, we were able to come up with an alternative solution to have the city of Powell dedicate that piece of sewer to us and allow Morris Station to flow through that sewer. So this is just the vacation of that easement.
This is the gentleman that sent the letter and
Yep.
made the phone calls.
Yep, correct.
Thank you. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-1164. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1165, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer improvement plans for Pines Section 2 and 3.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So this is just moving north in the Pines, which is located along South Old State Road. Section 2 has 29 lots and Section 3 has 60 lots.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1165. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-1166, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. We had 4 permit applications this cycle, and these are all routine utility installations, so we're recommending approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1166. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1167, in the matter of accepting roads, approving recommended speed limits, establishing stop conditions, and releasing securities for Glade at Highland Lake Section 2, Vinmar Village Section 3, Scioto Ridge Crossing Section 1, Scioto Ridge Crossing Section 2, Nelson's Farm Section 2, Phase B, and Nelson Farm Section 2, Phase C, Parts 1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Each of these subdivisions has been through the required 1-year developer maintenance period, and this would basically take on about 2/3 of 1 mile of new public streets on our township road systems, and recommending approval for this resolution.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1167. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1168, in the matter of approving ditch maintenance petitions and ditch maintenance assessments for Life Point Church and North Farms Section 9.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
North Farm, Section 9 involves 23 lots, and then the Life Point Church is a new 17-acre facility on US 23 at Graphics Way. This would place the storm sewer systems for each of those on the county's maintenance system.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1168. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1169, in the matter of approving bid specifications and setting bid opening date and time for engineering materials for 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We're asking for your approval to go out to bid for several different services that we use throughout the year, including construction of sidewalks and curb ramps, tree clearing, and guardrail installation. And we use these throughout the year on an as-needed basis, and so that's the way the bid specifications are set up.
Okay.
Looks like everybody's participating too, all the townships. and
Yes.
City of Delaware and so on.
That's correct, Commissioner. We do make this bid open to our partners in Delaware County to use these prices and vendors if they need any of these services.
Good.
Yes, that's very, very helpful. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-1169. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We are on page 238, number 19, resolution number 19-1170, in the matter of approving transfer of appropriations and a rescinding of transfer of funds approved in resolution 191046.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Brad Lutz, Director of Business Operations, Financial Management. I'll start off by saying I'm a little disappointed. I thought everyone here was to see me do this resolution, but clearly that's not the case. So what we have here are two transfers of appropriations. The first one's for 911. They purchased a number of AC units. The intention was to have maintenance install those AC units. Unfortunately, maintenance is backed up with other projects. So the decision has been made to subcontract that out, so they need to transfer money that they won't be using from their software licenses line item to building improvements. The second transfer is for the coroner. They are going to purchase 2 new laptops and additional cadaver pouches, which is on there, a little bit nicer way of saying something else anyway. So that is a transfer of $1,900 from Coroner Medical Services to Coroner General Supplies. And then finally, we did an approval for a transfer of funds, doesn't have the day on here, but it was a few weeks ago. In short, we're really not able to transfer from a capital fund back to the general fund. You can, but it requires a whole lot more steps than just getting approval here, unfortunately. So what we are going to do to utilize those funds is take some expenditures that were made on behalf of that project from the road and bridge line item and apply them to that fund. That work will be done in the auditor's office, doesn't require approval to go through here. So in other words, the $750,000 will, in other words, find its way back to the general fund by moving expenditures that were made in that fund to this fund. Hopefully that made sense. If not,
Questions? Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1170. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Brad.
We have a few minutes before we can start item number 20, so we can see if Administrator Frommer has any more reports.
I do have a report. Today, we have our chili cook-off starting at 11 o'clock, going to 1 o'clock. We have, I think, 12 entrances to it. I have one in there as well. I won the EMS meat smoking contest in the summer, and now I'm trying to go for the second leg of the crown, which is the chili cook-off. Marissa has not determined what the third leg of the crown will be, but it'll be something in the spring.
I just want each commissioner to know there's an envelope on your desk, just there.
It also, not everybody got the memo, but it was in honor of Rivalry Week, and Ohio State has a little bit of a game this week, so important one. So anyway, that was my report. So everybody needs to come over and eat chili at 11 o'clock, and there's this really good smoked brisket one that is going to be really, really
The
good.
chilies, or other than the description you're giving?
You know, I asked Marissa to put names on it because I thought that might help me,
Well, you just
but,
described
you
it.
know, so.
So it's blind blind taste testing?
I'm not sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Romero?
I just have one thing. Commissioner Lewis and I were privileged to attend Marlene Cassini's retirement event Thursday night, and we've, on more than one occasion in the last few weeks, we've said very nice things about her. And again, just listening to the comments that were made that evening, and the comment I made, I'll say what I said Thursday night. She's very small in stature, but she casts a big shadow in our county, and I think that says it all. And I wish her well in her retirement, and she certainly has been a big benefit to our county. So,
Oh, yes.
great event,
Yes,
and well attended.
yes, very well attended. Commissioner Benton?
Great. Yeah, congratulations to Marlene, and wasn't able to attend it, but certainly want to wish Marlene the best. The foundation is far better than 15 years ago when she first started, so she's been great for the county and the foundation. Went to the Ohio Economic Development Agency presentation at the third Thursday chamber lunch. Bob Lamb was there as well, and the director of the OEDA, or Commerce Department director actually, was there and spoke, and she she talked about all the various things that the Commerce Department manages, and it is a real mishmash of things. But one thing that struck my eye was there's a $3 billion balance in their unclaimed funds fund.
Wow.
And it's just sitting there. It's just accumulating interest, and there's nothing that can be done with it legislatively. It just sits there and accumulates. It's for people who have not claimed their deposits or whatever.
There's no time limit where it returns?
It's just perpetual. So anyway, Bob and I were talking that maybe there's some way we could use those funds in a creative way to advance economic development, because it's in the Commerce Department, and it would be certainly a targeted use. So we're going to brainstorm on that and try to talk to Andy and Rick and see if there might be legislatively some way that those funds could be used to help fund infrastructure and development projects or whatever. So, because again, the $3 billion is just sitting there and can't be used right now for anything. So anyway, interesting idea. Went to the SEPCO board meeting on Friday, and SEPCO's moving along. SEPCO's in excellent shape. Well managed. One thing that from their investment portfolio discussion was they talked about their top 20 issuers in their bond portfolio, and I just thought this was interesting, given that our rating is AAA by Standard & Poor's and Moody's. I'll give you a few names of other big companies and names that you would recognize in their rating. JP Morgan Chase is an A-.
Oh, gee.
American Express is an A-. Visa is a AA-. Walt Disney is an A, and Microsoft is a AA+. We're ahead of all of those companies. We have a
that's right.
higher rating than all of those
George can
companies.
appreciate all this, yeah.
So I just thought it was worth giving a perspective on our double AAA rating. It just shows you how strong our county's financials are. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for it, and a whole bunch of good people working on it, but I thought that was just fascinating.
We just bought some Disney tickets, so I understand why their rating is so high.
Yeah, they're not shy about charging for their services. Land Bank is tomorrow at 2. That'll be the first one with our new county treasurer. I think new treasurer Mike Ringel is planning on attending. That's over at the auditor's office tomorrow at 2. And we do have Mike Ringel swearing in this afternoon at 3 over there, so that will be a nice event, and congratulations to Mike on receiving that appointment. Also, Kyle Rohr is being sworn in as his municipal judge office on December 20th at 2 o'clock in the municipal court. So just received that. Wanted to pass that word along. And that's all I got.
Okay. We had a Justice and Public Safety meeting at the state level, and we discussed Next Generation 911. And so this is going to take a while. They've been working on it for a while, but it will take a while. Basically taking the phone system, landline phone systems, and substituting fiber, and the speed will be much better, needless to say, and it is very complicated, but our committee passed a couple of resolutions to move ahead with this. Our CCAO is hoping to be backing legislation on this in January to get it moving, and so we'll see what happens. It's going to be probably a few years, but at least it's a good step in the right direction. And attending on Sunday, the event for Penn, and I mean, it was just to see everybody all together from the different departments was really great. Everybody worked really hard, as you saw today, and I'm so glad that we could bring that to everyone's attention. Over 2,500 pounds of food. I mean, that big Penn truck was full. They were afraid they wouldn't fit all the food in there. And it was from 9 to 1, so, and people too in Myers, as they took the flyer, and which explained that it just said supporting our Delaware County neighbors during this holiday season, and there was a list of food items that people could pick up, and the outpouring from the community was really, really great. So great event. So proud of everybody for all their hard work on that. And we are now able to start our hearing.
Resolution number 19-1171, in the matter of opening the public hearing number 2 to consider levying a real property tax pursuant to section 322.02 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-1171. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-1172, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence, a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedures from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-1172. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
All right. Welcome to everyone for the second public hearing for the consideration of levying a real property tax, transfer tax pursuant to section 322.02 of the revised code. There's a sign-up sheet for anyone if they wish to sign in. And our county auditor is here, and then, just to explain what happens to anyone who isn't here, then we'll hear questions from the board, and all those in favor of renewing the additional real property transfer tax, and then we'll hear from those opposed, and then the board may have additional questions, and then we'll close the hearing after that. And to our county auditor, George, could you just explain so people understand what we're doing here today?
Yes, Commissioners, I'd be happy to do that. These are fees that have been in place since 1968. They started out at $1 per $1,000 of sale price on property, real property transfers. In 1989, it was increased to $2, in 1995 to $3, and so it has been at $3 since 1995. The statute allows up to $4, $1 being mandatory, which was the $1 that was being collected in 1968 and has continued through. And then we are currently collecting the $2 of permissive fees. So there are 53, actually the maximum amount is $4 per thousand. There are 53 counties that are currently at the $4 per thousand rate. and 21 counties at the $3 rate, which is where we are. It is my recommendation that it has been done on a 10-year renewal cycle, so it was passed in 2009, and we need to renew it. My recommendation to you commissioners would be that we change it to a continuous conveyance fee as opposed to on a basis of a renewal. As Mr. Lutz testified at our last public hearing, you always have the authority to change it if you need to for any reason. And by making it continuous, then we don't really need to be concerned about renewing it on the 10-year cycle.
Okay,
And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any,
so change to continuous
as opposed to being on a 10-year
on a
renewal
10-year,
cycle.
right, okay.
You know, but there's something to be said about giving the opportunity for people to come and hear it every 10 years. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but it does mean the public has an opportunity to revisit it at least every 10 years, so, but my thought, my observation.
If we would increase it, though, then anyone would
need
have
to-
that opportunity to
Yes,
come in.
then you would need to have
So,
hearings.
I think
Set of
that,
hearings if there was a proposal to increase it.
Yes.
Yeah,
You would
right.
follow exactly the same process.
Yeah.
And I'll defer to Mr. Hostetler, but yes, you would need to
Right.
schedule the 2 public hearings and then vote on that action.
right, so it's not as though we'd be passing something without any public input. The public would have input if we were going to increase it. Any other questions? Or-
I think just, since we just now talked about the county's financial rating, bond rating, one of the key components of that is a stable revenue source. And this feeds, the lion's share of this goes to the general fund. And the general fund has received AAA, or the debt associated with the general fund has received AAA ratings. And one of the key things is a stable, long-term source of funding. They don't want something that, the rating agencies don't want something that has to be approved every year or is subject to, changes, on a regular basis and so on. So anyway, it's good that we look at this long-term.
And Commissioners, as you know, we're not recommending any increase. We're just continuing what has been in place since 1995.
Right. Okay. I will hear from anyone else in favor of continuing.
We have to close the hearing.
Well, I'll just go through this. Is there,
Okay.
making certain that we've heard everyone who is in favor. Is there anyone opposed to what we're doing today? And any other questions from the board before we proceed? And, okay, I think we can close the hearing then.
Resolution number 19-1173, in the matter of closing the public hearing number 2 to consider levying a real property tax pursuant to section 322.02 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-1173. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay. And we have a resolution then on the table?
Yes. We have the
Two resolutions.
Two resolutions.
we have the one
pick
with the
one.
continuous, or we have the one where there's the time limit.
Right.
Well, I would direct to renew, but I got a feeling from what the comments are made of, I'm a minority. But I would ask that we motion to renew.
For 10 years.
For 10 year?
I'll second that. Again, I have no issue with giving the or not publicity, but getting, having the hearing, every 10 years. It really isn't much of an effort, so I'm fine with that. But 10 years is good, because that's long-term stable funding, which I'd like to see, and make sure that we have that for the county.
All right. Resolution number 19-1174, in the matter of approving a resolution levying an additional real property tax transfer pursuant to Section 322.02 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
And we are considering the one that is from effective January 1st of 2020 through December 31st of 2029.
Okay, let me see here.
Number 21.
Number 20, oh, the continuous, okay.
No, the time limit one, on page 240.
21 is the,
Renew for 10 years.
Yeah, this one right here.
oh, they're both numbered 21, aren't they?
Yes, but
Okay,
one of them
second
says
21.
time limit.
Second
and
21, okay,
One of
yeah.
them just says continuous. We're under the time limit one, January 1st, 2020
Oh,
through
okay.
December 31st of 2029. It's in section 3.
Oh, okay, thank you. You know. I don't think we do need a 10-year. I think we just bring it up as necessary, but there again, I mean, 10 years is a long time, so I don't have a big problem with it. All right, let's call for the vote.
Vote on motion 19-1174, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye. Thank you, George. I think, yeah.
And we do,
And the.
See you in 10 years.
See you,
As Mr. Bent
yeah,
said, we have
right,
a
yeah.
stable revenue source, and it stays with our past practice.
Well, I just think it's healthy for the voters to at least have the opportunity.
good point.
And that's in a more direct format.
Right. So, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
we do have need for executive session today. Resolution number 19-1175, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of compensation of a public employee or public official and for pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second?
Do we, oh, okay,
The board
The appointment
appointments
comes
will
later.
come later this afternoon.
okay. Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1175. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye, we are now recessed into executive session.
Yeah, we'll recess.
Resolution number 19-1176, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-1176. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We are now recessed until 1:30, when we will go into executive session.